Alright guys, so I wanted to create a quick video to go over extrusions and the multi-cut tool, just to provide you a refresher on some of that. Okay, so making sure over here on the left hand side we have our outliner open by clicking this. Making sure over here we are in our Maya Classic. We have our three tabs: attribute, modeling, channel box. So making sure we're in channel box, we're in modeling over here, and we're on our poly modeling tab. Okay, from here let's just drop in a cube, and our three component modes are our vertex, our edge, and our face. And then we have our object mode, which is the main object. And the way I bring up that menu again is just right click and hold. So from here we're going to go to face, and I'm going to click the face. Over here I have my move tool selected, almost like that. Now if I hold shift down, you'll notice if my cursor is over the arrow, it's going to say extrude. If it's not and I have shift held down, it's not going to say that. So what you want to do when you're extruding this way, whatever face you have selected, you want to shift and do the arrow that's pointing away from it. In this case it's kind of inverted, but it's along that same axis. So we'd shift that, shift, and that. So let's do the top one just so we can see. So I'm going to hold shift down, go over the top arrow, pull, let go. I still have shift held down. I'm going to click and pull again. And I'm going to do it again, shift and pull. Okay, so shift, pull, and you can see we can just keep extruding that as much as we want. Okay, in our poly modeling tab, if you guys remember, all the way over here we have this little knife looking icon with the 1, 2, 3 dots and the 2 lines in between. So you can find that there, or you can go into mesh tools and you can find that there. And there's also the shortcut for it, that Control Shift X should also bring that up. So anyways, I'm going to select that tool, and if I just click, I can start just cutting this up. But if I hold Control down, you can see I can add edge loops. So right now I'm going to select, or I'm going to do Control over one of these vertical edges, and you can see that I'm going to get a horizontal edge loop. Well, it's going to do the opposite if I go over one of these horizontal edges. If I hold Control down, I'm going to get a vertical edge loop. So I can drop in edges and increase my poly divisions this way as well. Okay, so that's that. Let's just delete all this. Oops, didn't want to make that. Let's make another cube. So our other mode of extruding is Control E, and we'll get a move tool, right? Or we can do Control E, and if I click on one of these little boxes, I can get that scale. If I click Control E, I can also come over here and just click my move tool. Control E, I can come over here and click my scale tool. Sometimes these can be preferable depending on the complexity of your geometry. This is a pretty simple polygon object, so it's not a big deal right now, but it can be later. So that's a review of the Control E, or the extruding through that method. So let's just delete all this. Let's look at curves and extruding. So if we come up here to create, curve tools, CV curve tool, and if we just draw, a shape, kind of get those somewhat close together. Okay, we can't extrude this right now because it's not closed. There's a gap. So with our curve selected, we can go up here to curves, and if we come down, we should see open, close right there. Okay. Sometimes, depending on how close that is, these could be inverted. Like after you do that, you could have something like that. Just remember, you just want to right click and hold and go over to control vertex mode and just select that vertex that's a little funky and just pull it out so you can straighten things out. Alright, I'm going to right click and go back to object mode. From here, if I go up to surfaces, down to bevel plus, I'm going to do the box. This is where you would add like depth, so 0.25 is pretty small. So I'm just going to put 5 for now, do a bevel, and you can see we got an extrusion. So that's a way to draw a curve and get a 3D object based off of that curve, so you can make all sorts of really interesting shapes that way. Let's delete all that. Alright, let's look at extruding faces along a curve. So I'm going to go back up to Create, Curve Tools, and CV Curve Tool. And I'm just going to kind of click and just make something along those lines. And from here, this is where we want to go to, again, face mode. So right click and hold, down to face. I'm going to click that face that's kind of alongside that curve. And I'm going to shift click this. Now, or shift left click it. If for some reason that's not working, just make sure you have that face selected. And you can come over here to your outliner and control click the curve. From here, we're going to do control E as an elephant, or edit mesh, and down to extrude. Okay. This will just give us one face, and it'll just pop all the way to the end of the curve. What we want to do from here, though, is we want to add divisions. We can do it here, but I tend to like to do it over here in my channel box layer editor. So remember, our attribute editor, these tabs all the way to the right, modeling toolkit, channel box layer editor. And depending on how many extrusions you have, you could have a polyface 1 or polyface 2. Usually if you just did an extrusion, it'll be the latest one. And so since it's the latest one, it's already open for me. And so I can just scroll down in here and find divisions. And let's just add maybe 20. And now you can see we have topology that follows a little closer to that curve. We also have our twist, right? So we can do different values through there, right? I'm going to leave that at 0 for right now. And we have taper. So we did 0.1. It's going to get really tiny at the end. I'm just going to do like a 0.4. And if you remember, this is kind of how we went about making like that octopus tentacle. So if we come onto the bottom here, making sure we're right clicking and in face mode, making sure that we remember our extrusion methods that we've already discussed. We could click this face. We could do Control E as an elephant, or up to edit mesh and down to extrude. And we can just pull that out. We can do Control E, click on one of these boxes and get that box in the middle. Control E and grab that arrow and push it up. So it's actually 3 extrusions, one to pull it down, one to shrink the square in the middle, and then another one to push it back up. And then if we remember on our keyboard, the number 1 is our box view, where 3 gives us a subdivided or a smoother look. So I'm going to do 3, 1, 3, 1. So that 3 can kind of start to give us that view of what our suction cup might look like. So right here, you may even feel like your suction cup maybe is too low. So you can still adjust this if you just right click and go to vertex. You can just kind of draw a box around all those vertices. And then we'll just come to our move tool and we can still kind of move things around. And if we even want to play with it, we could even kind of scale these out a little bit or whatever. But that's just something to play with as you're going at different things artistically. So right click and back to object mode. Okay, so and then yeah, you just go down each face and do the same thing. It's a great practice. There's ways to do multiple, but for right now, I think it's just a good idea to just get some good practice by going through each one of the vertex modes, or through each one of the face modes and doing individual extrusions. Okay, so I will show you one more thing. So right here we have these faces that are real close together, like this one and this one. So that might be like a teeny suction cup. We can actually go to face, and I could click this one. I could click the one next to it, and in fact, I could click that one as well if I wanted to. I'll just do those two just to demonstrate this. But if I hit Control E here, I can actually extrude all this together. If I hit Control E again, click one of the little boxes, shrink that in, Control E, and push that up. So as you can see right here, I just did one face and I got this shape, but I can actually select more than one face and do the same thing. So if I smooth that out, 3, now you'll see have a suction cup utilizing 2 faces. So don't think we covered that in class, but that's a little handy trick too. So hopefully that helps as well to give you some ideas in regards to how you can do some things like that too. So okay, so I think that about covers our extrusions that we've covered in class, so hope that helps.